we obviously take care about materials, and we are especially interested on try to do as much as possible to qualify the space and the atmospheres as much as possible with the less elements. So probably this is what you found in our architecture, that with only a few and simple look-like elements, we try to go as far as possible in terms of perceptions and this quality of being there. We are really, you'll see later in the lecture, but we are really interested on the idea of feeling more than, and the idea of what's happening more than how is exactly the object, the building object. Yes, of course, I see myself as an artist, but at the same time I realize that architecture is a different dimension of art, especially because it deals with time. It needs to be used for a long time. So what is contemporary in some specific happening art, it's difficult to be sustainable in architecture in terms of you have to control a little bit yourself to try to do kind of projects that can stand years and years. So I think this is the main difference, that architecture is just for living, and it should be, usually it has a long life, so you need to control a little bit more than an artist. No, I think the most of the artists usually are using restrictions as a creative process. So I think architecture it's extremely full of restrictions, and I think this is powerful in terms of creativity. And probably in architecture, this artistic position, this sensitive approach, it's more sophisticated. It's not so evident than in other kind of arts, but it's there. I think it's necessary. I think well, in our personal approach, we are always thinking on what it will happen in the next 10, 20, 30 years. And the building must be prepared to change functionality, and it should be still sexy over years, which is really difficult. No, for me, sexy it's something that it's like the difference between beautiful and attractive. It's something that it deals not with how is, so it's dealing with what's happening between the building and the user. There's some special relation. It's not especially an aesthetic or a metaphysic position. It's more something that it happens. You feel attracted to this, but it's not exactly an aesthetic position. Difficult question. I think that something becomes beautiful or attractive when it has a condition of being fine there. So I am only thinking about doing something that is nice and it's comfortable. No, I'm trying to not go farther than this, because then maybe you start with mistakes. So I'm more focused on creating comfortable atmospheres. It's this. We are trying to do this. A place where you want to stay, you still want to stay after some years, and it has the quality and the conditions of being happy there. Okay, in our Mediterranean climatic condition, comfort is very related to materials that has this capacity of having thermal mass, to have this radiation sensation, like a radiant temperature, something that is able to keep the fresh of the night and return it a few hours later to you. So these mineral materials like bricks, concrete, stones works very well in our conditions. So that's probably why we usually work with these materials, because it helps and it makes a contribution to the quality of the comfort. Yeah, probably we are really interested on vernacular construction. This traditional architectural strategies that are used in the old-fashioned buildings. We are always looking to this kind of typologies and materials. And as we are always building very close to our office, we really control this kind of materials ability, what materials are available, and which are the climatic strategies. Around it means that it's not, we are not building in Berlin. So now we do all the process. We design from the early ideas, from the final construction process. So we control everything. I think that building in Berlin should be much more difficult, because it's really more cold and it's creating strong restrictions in terms of the quality of being in a building. But I don't know if it should be the perfect materials for Berlin, but I think they are more or less the same, but you need to be more close from outside. You need to be more in a kind of artificial conditions, because outside it's not so easy. But this is, of course, is creating new opportunities. It should be nice to do it.